Welcome, everyone. This is Cards and Coffee with Colleen and Kathy mini reading event, but you might notice and see that Kathy is not here. If you've been here before, you know who Kathy Munson is and what she looks like. She contacted me 2 hours ago this morning and told me that she is very, very ill and she couldn't make it. So I scurried, and I tried to find somebody to hop in as my co-host today. And I have the lovely Rebecca Schmidt. You might be able to see her. She's one of my astrology students, and she's the next generation of up and coming, wonderful, intuitive, psychic people. And so let me just quickly introduce myself in case you don't know anything about me if you're brand new. My name is Colleen Lemma. I am for 22 plus years. I don't know if I even want to tell you that. 22 plus years I've been doing intuitive readings and healing sessions of various kinds. I use tarot, divination, astrology, the Akashic records, and past life regression and Reiki and a lot of other things. And I teach lots and lots of classes. And I'm going to let Rebecca introduce herself really quick here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca Schmidt. I have a business called Trust the Effing Process. And I've been offering tarot and now astrology readings for several years now. And Colleen has been one of my wonderful teachers. So I'm really grateful to be here and to meet all of you and to be able to offer some of my intuitive gifts and messages to you guys.
Hey, thank you, Rebecca. And I guess I should mention that my business is called Sacred Soul Empowerment. That's my website and also the name of my meetup group, which some of you may have signed up to come to this through that. So usually what we do, and like I said, this is being recorded, and Rebecca and I will talk a little bit very shortly. We'll try to keep it short is what I meant, about the energies on a collective level, what's kind of going on, what we're picking up for this time that kind of applies to everyone. And then we'll randomly pick a few people from the Zoom studio audience to do a mini reading for. We try to keep this to an hour, so we're not going to be able to get to everybody. But know that sometimes, and when it comes to group situations like this, when we do a reading for someone, whatever is coming through for that person often will in some way, shape, or form apply to you and what's going on with you. So, be patient and listen, support, kind of hold space. And know that, we do this every month. I might not be doing it every month with Rebecca, but either Kathy and I, or maybe Rebecca and I will be able to do it in the future. And you'll still have another chance at a future time. Or Rebecca and I, we both do separate. And we were just talking about the possibility of doing team readings as well. So we do readings aside from doing this. So realize that you can reach out to either one of us to book a longer, more extensive reading for yourself. So let's briefly talk about the energies on a collective level. I mean, there's a lot going on. It feels like this whole year, that's what I've been saying every month. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, We had a lot of eclipse energies in, April. And right now we've got a lot of planets in Gemini. We've got the sun, we've got Mercury, we've got Venus, we've got Jupiter, all in this mutable, changeable, intellectual, logical sign of the twins, Gemini. And what I think is happening with all of this Gemini energy is that we're kind of all over the place intellectually or mentally. We're kind of vacillating from one possibility to another. We're trying to make decisions and choices, but nothing seems to be grounded or set in stone. And we just, I think a lot of times can't make up our minds, which is kind of affecting the energy, because if we're bouncing all over the place, it's difficult to manifest something because we're constantly shifting. But even more than that, from an astrological perspective, and I'll show you a couple card messages I got for the collective here in a minute when I did my meditation, but we've got 2 planets in Pisces right now. And Pisces is also considered a mutable sign of the zodiac, just like Gemini, which means it's changeable and it needs to go with the flow. And there's a lot of vacillation and there's not a lot of grounding energy. There's not a lot of focused energy with both Gemini and Pisces. And as I was meditating, the universe was showing me, and I've been really much more drawn to learning even more about and working even more with the Akashic records. And I got this image of us being, all of us, we're all able to connect with our own Akashic records, but that was a really important thing right now, is this idea of timelines and other possibilities and other dimensions of time and space. And one of the planets that is in Pisces is Neptune. And Neptune does rule the spiritual realm. It rules like everything that seems to be intangible and of a spiritual nature, angels, guides, the Akashic realm, all of these things that Neptune rules. Being in Pisces itself really, I think, is honing us in on these extensive magical potentials and possibilities. And it's at the 29th degree of Pisces right now. This is the last degree, which is magnifying and intensifying Neptune's energies. And so I feel like, that we are in this immense time period of possibilities right now. And we just have to be able to, in our human kind of mind or humanness, figure out what is your spiritual truth. What is your spiritual direction and your spiritual truth? And that you can connect to the highest timeline of that and kind of bring it in, or it's not an action-oriented sign. It's more like, let's visualize it, and then it will just kind of be attracted to us. However, I have to mention that the other planet that's in Pisces is Saturn, and Saturn is very different than Neptune. Neptune to me is this magic and miracles and the etheric, realm of spirituality and all this kind of stuff. And Saturn is third dimensional reality. And Saturn is limitations and restrictions. And Saturn is karmic lessons, but he's also in Pisces. And so what they were showing me in my meditation is that it's like we're being magnified to some of our greatest karmic lessons right now in our humanness. And we also are being provided the opportunity to rise above that, to have awareness of what they are, to work through them, to understand where the core root of the karmic lesson is, but to be able to, like Neptune, kind of rise above that, transcend that. Transcendence is a great keyword for Neptune, and to choose a higher possibility, to not get stuck in the loop of a karmic pattern that maybe we've lived over and over again in this lifetime, but more than likely that it comes from another lifetime or lifetimes as well. It's like, let's not continue the loop. Let's heal this karmic pattern, be aware of and understand the karmic lesson, and then rise above it. And when Neptune is at this 29th degree, which is for a little bit of time yet because it moves very slowly, let's choose the higher timeline. Let's choose the miracle, the magic, and the opportunities. And when I look at my cards, it was funny because I used a deck and got the Divine Matrix. And it's the galactic mushroom. And I'm like, okay, we're living in this third dimensional matrix. But a couple of days ago, I did a different event on Zoom. And from a different deck, I got this card, which is the Divine Matrix. And I was like, whoa, wait, that's too weird. So I pulled this card out because I felt like this is kind of the divine matrix of the third dimension that we're living in, because the mushroom grows on the earth, so it's earthly. But this divine matrix, is again that realm of possibilities and potentials, the magic and the miracles. So let's rise above this third dimensional, matrix, and let's move into a higher spiritual divine matrix. The Angels and guides were saying that our focused intention is very important right now, but they realize that with all this mutable Gemini Pisces energy, it's hard to kind of get a focus on something. So just keep on meditating, just keep on reflecting, just keep on moving on your healing path. But eventually we need to find this focused intention and send that out to the universe. They were also talking about our soul family, like coming into connection with our soul family, our soul tribe. I feel like that is something that's being magnified, I guess, or drawn to us recently and during the weeks to come. Feel like if you felt like lonely or alone or lost or confused, I feel like, we're being connected in different ways, either spiritually or in physical real time, to our soul family, our soul tribe. Bridget came in, and she's a Celtic goddess. And this particular rendition of Bridget talks about inner fire and finding your passion and your purpose. So again, when it comes to all this confusion and lack of clarity, just really, go within your heart and figure out, what is my passion? What am I passionate about? Are you living your passion right now? Is your work, is your career, is your relationships, is it really in alignment with who you are, your passion, your truth? And so you can call on Bridget. She even has her heart chakra here all lit up, right? So let's get into our hearts and let's figure out, what is my purpose? What path is my purpose? What feelings are my purpose? And your feelings of purpose are joy and happiness and feeling abundant and prosperous, and knowing that you are a divine human being, which brings us to the divine presence. And this kind of, to me, goes along with that Neptune and Pisces. We're connecting to the divine presence. It says the force of love and creation. So we're going back to the love of the heart chakra as we connect with our unconditional love in our hearts. And that's not to say that we're emanating only unconditional love to other people. I mean, sure, we're trying to attain that too, obviously, but we got to start here with ourselves. Unconditional love of self, unconditional compassion for self, unconditional respect for self, and unconditional forgiveness of self. And if we do all those things, we'll be able to connect with that higher realm of possibilities and potentials that are out there. So I probably took a little longer than I meant to, but Rebecca, do you have any messages for the collective?
I do, and they, of course, go very closely along with yours. So I pulled a few cards, you guys, and the first two were the World card and also the Ten of Swords, which to me is definitely some endings. And I think going along with what Colleen was saying is we're kind of going, like, letting go of this sense of, I don't want to say being an individual, because definitely you need that, but there's going to be more of a collective sense. There's going to be more communities. And in order to do that, in order to get to that place, we each on our own have to kind of clean out our closets, so to speak, maybe remove any sort of addictions or whatever it is that's been holding us back. Ways that we've been disempowering ourselves. So maybe we're people pleasers. Maybe we have deep trauma. Maybe there's other things that need to be worked through to do with your mental health or your daily habits that are kind of keeping you stuck and keeping you from being able to, again, open your heart, as Colleen was talking about, and allow others in. Right. And not everyone, of course, you get to pick and choose your people, but your soul group is coming together. This card, I don't know if you guys can see it, but she's dancing in the middle. This is the Mother Earth, Mother Peace deck. And it's just like she's surrounded by her whole tribe. And the last card I pulled, you guys, is then the Nine of Pentacles. So this is you then standing in your power. This is you, really, I think for a lot of people, they're either going to be finding ways to share their gifts, but also raising their self-worth, to say the least, raising your self-worth. So these endings that are coming in, some of them might feel a little uncomfortable at times, but do know in the bigger picture, it's all going to be, helping you and helping you to feel better and allowing you to more deeply connect with yourself and with the others around you. So it feels pretty special, like a special time right now.
One more thing, and then we're going to choose our first person. I forgot, is they said to take a step back right now again, because the energies are so kind of changeable, mutable, wonky, and kind of all over the place. Take a step back, and a card was stuck to this when I meditated earlier and pulled a card from this deck. And so the card that was behind it was divine timing. So take a
Wow.
step back, because divine timing is at play with whatever it is you're working on, striving for, trying to attain or manifest. Know that, divine timing is at work, basically. All right. So this is where you get to either raise your etheric hand or your real hand if you're on camera, and let us know if you want a mini reading, and we'll just, be guided to choose, whoever spirit kind of guides us to. And I'm going to let Rebecca choose first. So again, raise your hand or your etheric hand. Let us see if you want a reading. And Rebecca, does anybody jump out at you?
Yeah, Amanda's popping out to me today. So Amanda Hull.
All right, Amanda. Amanda, I'm going to ask for your date of birth because I like to look at, date vibration. I'm sorry. Are you on mute?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, did we lose her?
There we go. No, I'm here.
Okay.
okay.
Can
What's
you
your
hear
date
me?
of birth, Amanda?
It's 5/12/81.
5/12. You just had a birthday. Happy belated birthday, 1981.
Thank you.
And do you have a specific question or focus, or do you want to just see what spirit has to tell you?
I just want to see what spirit has to tell me because I have a
All
lot of
right.
questions. So I'm gonna trust. I'm gonna trust in it.
All right. Let's trust the effing process, as Rebecca would say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Excellent.
So 5
All right.
1981. Rebecca, you can jump in anytime if you have some.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say I was shuffling away here, and Amanda, your first card that came out is the Daughter of Cups, which in regular tarot would be the Page of Cups. So it does feel like there's something lovely coming in for you. I don't know if it's romance or a nice friendship or something that just brings in some joy and lightheartedness. Have things been a bit heavy lately? It feels like there's been some tougher things that you've been trying to make your way through. And I just feel like this is someone else around you. I don't know if it's a child or someone younger, but I feel like they bring in a lot of joy. And so maybe spending some more time around this person might be really beneficial for you, just to kind of lighten the load a little bit. Sometimes we get really stuck in the focusing on the problem versus just kind of asking
Right.
the universe for some help and allowing them to step in and help you. Does that make sense for
Yeah.
you?
It makes perfect sense. Yeah, I feel it coming too. I just don't
Right.
know exactly.
Yeah.
I have a yeah. I think it's coming too.
Okay. I also pulled the Hierophant card. So this has to do with a higher lesson. So a lot of what you've been going through is, as many of us souls are, is for a bigger reason. And the key is what's really sticking out to me here. So I feel like as soon as you kind of get this aha moment or get the lesson, it might also be to do with your own values versus like what society's been trying to impose on you, or family or culture has been trying to impose on you. And I feel like there's going to be a bit of a breakthrough as you're gaining this kind of higher spiritual lesson that your soul's been really wanted you to learn in this lifetime, and it's going to take you places. So it's interesting. They both have birds on them, both of these
Right.
cards.
Yeah.
So I do feel like there's definitely room to fly and higher perspectives available. And yeah, definitely some wisdom coming in that I think you're going to be able to share with others as well. It feels pretty special.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, Amanda. So they were showing me the energy vibration you come in with, which is very interesting to me because I feel like you're this like ultimate humanitarian, unconditional love, compassion, you're a healer, but you're also very strong. Like I also feel like you're very leadership oriented and, take charge and can be directive. So you've got this wonderful blend of like masculine and feminine energy. And you just had a kind of birthday, right? So we just shifted from one focus of energy to another focus of energy for this new birthday year. And first, they wanted to just kind of recap the last year because they were talking about something about home, like focus on home, family, or ancestry, or deep emotional healing, something about needing to have compassion. And so whether this is compassion for another or family member, because there was, like I said, a focus on home and family last birthday year, or whether this was gaining greater compassion for yourself on some level. That was kind of something that was a focus last year. And now you're going into this year, this birthday year, where there is more of a focus, even more deeply on your inner self. Like I feel like there's a
For sure.
pulling back of the energies. There's a need to go within and find your sense of trust and faith in universe or source, but also find your sense of trust and faith in yourself. So it's going to be quite the interesting year because I feel like there's a lot going on out here in the external world, but it's a need to pay more attention to what's going on in here in the internal world and to kind of figure things out. There's something about like feeling, now you're just newly into this year, so I don't know if you feel it yet, but feeling as though like all the puzzle pieces aren't quite fitting together, or like, why is this happening? What's going on? I don't understand. It's not making any sense. And it might not for a while make any sense, but it's so that you again come into more of a trust and faith in yourself and finding your inner answers. Again, one of those collective messages about like finding your inner truth and what lights you up. What is your passion? What is your truth? Not what is everybody else's truth or what somebody else wants you to do. And one of the cards that came out for you is, you're a healer. So this is Bridget. I think, didn't we have her from another deck? So this is Bridget here. And it says, you are a healer. So you have lots of healing energies. I think that one of the focuses for this birthday year is healing yourself. Healing different like fragmented aspects of yourself and kind of bringing them back kind of together, bringing them into I don't want to say into a whole, because on some level you are already whole, right? You're already whole because you're part of the divine. But I feel like through other lifetime experiences and even this lifetime experiences, when we have traumas, parts of us can be fragmented off, and we're kind of calling those soul pieces back. We're bringing those back together this year so that we're kind of creating a wholeness, more of a wholeness within ourselves. And you were getting a message about like they're activating, you're having like different light activations happening, DNA activations, downloads, light activations. I feel like when you're feeling a little bit emotional, that might not relate to anything, or when you're feeling a little bit tired and fatigued, when you feel like you got enough sleep, so what's going on? I feel like this is some of the downloads and some of the activations that are going on that you just need to have a little bit of rest and downtime in allowing, again, this kind of integration or reintegration to take place. They were talking about being called, like a spiritual calling, like, again, like what is your divine truth? What is your divine path? I feel like they're giving you messages, and they're calling you. I don't feel like it's going to start manifesting or expanding for another, maybe not another year or so. It doesn't mean you won't have glimpses of it and little bits of it, but I feel like this spiritual calling, like, is going to come more into play. Like, listen to the messages, watch the messages from spirit, and even like your dreams or nature or animal totems, or different experiences like the ones you're having now. I just pulled signs and reminders. So pay attention to the signs, because there's different signs. We have butterflies, we've got birds, we've got a white feather, so signs can come in various forms here. And
yeah, they've been coming.
What's that, honey?
They've been coming, yes.
Have
and I
they
get
been
them through
coming?
my dreams too, yeah.
Okay. So pay attention to that. And they reiterated the power of your intention. So again, right now we might need to take a pause, because until some of this Gemini stuff moves on into the next sign of the zodiac, Cancer, we might not have the focus of sending our intentions out to the universe. But pretty soon we're going to, be able to kind of focus in what our intention is and powerfully send that out to the universe. Does that help you in any way?
Yeah, my Venus and Mercury is actually in Gemini, which I thought was very interesting. So I'm like, yeah, because there's a lot of like weird stuff happening now, and I'm like, don't know which way it's gonna go. A lot of it's outside of my control, to be perfectly honest, like work wise. But yeah, so it's very interesting right now. A lot of things are happening.
Absolutely. And just an FYI, not just for you, but for everybody here, 2 of those 4 planets that are in Gemini already challenged Saturn, actually the last couple of days. So like the last 2 days, if you felt like, oh, something, I myself have felt overly emotional. That's part of that kind of push-pull energy, or that energy of, take a look at, go deeper into what your own personal karmic lessons are. What am I supposed to learn here? What am I supposed to understand? Because next Wednesday, we'll have the 3rd of the 4 planets challenging Saturn, the planet of karmic lessons. And then in the middle of August, we'll have that 4th planet, which is moving a lot more slowly. It will be in a challenging connection to Saturn. And not only will that 4th planet be connecting to Saturn in mid-August, but by then we'll have Mars, the warrior planet, also in Gemini, also connecting to Saturn. And with it being this challenging energy for all of these Gemini planets with Saturn, again, it's really, Saturn is asking us to be responsible, to take responsibility for our own path, our own learning of our own lessons and understanding of what they are and how to move through them. Persistence, patience, perseverance is part of Saturn. Know that you don't have to continue the cycle. We don't have to continue on that hamster wheel like Groundhog Day. We can move ourselves out of it. And I think, that would be one of the lessons for everybody. Okay, so it's my turn to pick, and I'm gonna pick Mary. So Mary, if you want to unmute yourself and give me your date of birth.
Hi.
Hi.
Yes. 6/7/73.
Oh my God, you just had a birthday too.
Yes.
2 days ago. Happy birthday. All right.
Thank you.
Did you say 1973?
Yes, correct.
All right. And Mary, do you have a particular focus or question, or do you just want to see what comes up?
Just see what comes up.
All right. And I'm just going to hand it to Rebecca if she's ready.
Okay, Mary, I pulled you some cards. They came flying out for you, so they definitely want to be shared. The first one is the Chariot. So it feels like you're overcoming some kind of ego challenges that you've had, or difficulties, really being courageous at this time. And maybe you're starting to notice some forward movement, or you're just feeling like things that used to make you a little nervous or fearful, you're just like, screw it, I'm going for it now, kind of energy. Maybe there's even, I don't know if there's some movement or actual travel happening in your life or coming up in the near future as well. But I just feel like more people are being drawn to you at this time. So I don't know if this is within your work, or just even you're noticing it on a day-to-day, like, you're walking through the store and you notice more people looking at you. It's not in a bad way. I feel like they're drawn to almost like your power, your energy. Like there's just it's like it feels magnetic to me right now. So it feels very exciting. I feel like you have a lot of passions and new maybe ideas or projects that you're wanting to get moving forward on, or desires. But the guidance here is just to really allow the flow. This is the 4 of Swords. So it has to do with just kind of resting, meditating, getting out of your head a bit, especially with this crazy Gemini season that's going on right now. So kind of some of the stuff that Colleen was mentioning. Yeah, lots of ideas and lots of, how do I ground this? How do I, get this focused? And I think you're actually doing well on that. But the guidance would be, yeah, just to allow that time of stillness and just to get out of your head a little bit and allow the universe also to step in and help you with it's almost like a part of the manifestation. Like you've got all these ideas and desires, and right now in Gemini season, everything's a little woo. But I do think that the universe, if you can still yourself a little more, even just for moments throughout the day, like I feel like you're going through the day and then you just stop and you like lean on a wall and close your eyes and just come into the present moment, feel the temperature of the air, feel how your heart feels, that sort of thing, and just come back in. I feel like you do that throughout the day a little bit, and it'll just keep you a little more grounded and allow you to move forward on some of these projects a little bit more quickly. Or as I guess the universe wants you to them to unfold. But it feels like you're in a powerful position right now. So it does feel exciting. And I hope some of that resonates for you.
Yeah, it does. It does resonate. I think, yeah, spending a little bit more time to just feel what's within and just to slow down and to meditate a lot more. I know my practice has been a little bit not as good lately. So I think, yeah, just having that and because there are a lot of things going on around me. So that's good. So, yeah, it
No, I'm
resonates.
excited for you. Yeah, great. I'm happy.
Okay, Mary. So first they were showing me the energy vibration you come in with as a soul is this master number energy. I don't know if you know anything about your numerology, but you come in with master number energy, which is kind of Christ consciousness energy, you know, this very high ability to kind of create and teach and heal and educate. I mean, you've got both kind of this mental body and emotional body thing in a balanced way going on. So I feel like, you know, you definitely can feel and have compassion and bring healing, but you also want to like, again, educate and teach people, not just do the healing for them, but to say, this is how you do it, you know, and this energy is actually being activated even more in this new birthday year that you just went into a couple of days ago. So if we go back like a couple of years, actually 3 years, completion, closing out old stuff, kind of falling away. 2 years ago, new beginning, let's plant new seeds. This past birthday year was kind of like just the sustained movement forward. It might not have felt like there was like big things going on, but it was like this sustained movement forward, and also this focus on healing relationship dynamics of various kinds, making sure that things were equal and balanced. Now you're going into a time that I think you're going to be happy to hear is about growth and expansion. This is like growth, expansion, abundance, prosperity, creative self-expression, again, all forms of communication, teaching, speaking, writing. So really putting yourself out there, putting out, like we keep talking about intentions, put those intentions out there now. And really, again, once the energy might settle down a little bit where you can focus it a little bit more, but for you, write it out and speak it out loud, because that's where the power of your intentions coming into manifestation probably is going to work best. I think that works best for everybody, but especially for you. And they were saying that as you ask, this is kind of the phrase that came in, as you ask, so you shall receive. That old saying, as you ask, so you shall receive. So again, first we have to be clear about what it is we want to receive. And then once we're clear, write it out, speak it out loud, put the intention out there, because I feel like it's really going to come into play for you. Pulling a couple of cards for you, I heard the phrase like hearts on fire. It's funny because I'm watching the show where it's like, it's a fireman show kind of thing. And it's, you know, this person has they're starting like this new educational group for young women called Girls on Fire, where they're teaching them the ropes for firefighting or whatever. But I heard hearts on fire. So, you know, what is your heart passionate about? What are you on fire to do? Like, even though it feels like there wasn't a lot of stuff really happening or great momentum last year, the great momentum can happen now. So what is your heart on fire to do? And they were giving me the phrase like alchemy. And so I feel like, you know, they also used light activation for you. Similar message that Amanda got is like there's a light activation within you happening, which is going to accelerate your growth and evolution. And then they gave me this term of alchemy and learning more about, what do I want to call it? Like alternative healing or alternative medicine. And whether that's like essential oils, flower essences as an alternative medicine, or whether it's some sort of healing modality that you want to learn more about, or whether this is just about like energy work where you can take, you know, alchemy is usually like, let's take one substance and let's transform it into something bigger and better, sort of like turning water into wine or lead into gold. So I feel like you have this ability to alchemize certain situations in your life in this upcoming year, to take what it is already and to make it even better, transform it into even better. But some of that might be, since this is a year for you to focus on, you know, learning or teaching or education, the education might be you learning new things. And so again, what things in the alternative or what they're calling sacred medicine, or what things regarding like alchemy, and energy vibration and healing, what more can you learn to add on your tool belt so that you really expand into the next part of your journey or the next step in your business or what it is that you're here to do. They also said for right now, because you're a Gemini and all these planets are Gemini, again, to do what you can to stay balanced, grounded, composed, you know, again, a couple of weeks and some of the planets will start moving into Cancer. So you might start to feel some relief at that point. But also the last thing, which seems maybe a little out of place with some of the other messages, but they said Gemini is connected to the nature realm, like the fairy realm, the nature realm. And I feel like paying attention to like signs from nature or paying attention to animal totems, whether in your dreams or like I go on walks and I see rabbits running in front of me all the time. And so the rabbit totem, you know, is big leaps and hops forward. So pay attention to the signs from the animals and nature, to gain further kind of instruction, if you will, is how they're putting it. I hope that that helped.
Yeah, I did. I mean, especially when you were saying how over the last 3 years, so 3 years, 2 years, and then now. And so, yeah, 3 years ago, I was having a transition and getting my kid to college. And then, so I just, you know, shifted from, you know, worrying about dealing with, you know, raising a child, another human being, to 2 years ago, focusing really more so on my business and making more money and, you know, doing all those things as far as career wise. And then kind of this year's shift, or towards the end of last year or this birthday year to this new one, is kind of focused on myself a little bit more, finding out what I really want in this new stage of life. And, you know, so it's been great. And yeah, definitely, definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll definitely take advantage of this year's opportunity for growth and expansion.
Mm-hmm.
And one last thing they're saying is Gemini, right? Sign of the twins. And in this birthday year, we can expand into the positive of abundance and prosperity, but also if we get into like a negative mind loop, which sometimes Gemini will vacillate back and forth in, you could expand again into some of the negative mind loop stuff and become more anxious. So just catch yourself and like, you know, shift it around as soon as you can to bring it back into the positive, because that's what you want to expand into.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's Rebecca's turn to choose somebody.
Oh, okay. I think I'm going to go with Mary Jo.
All right, Mary Jo.
Oh, great. Thank
Mary
you.
Jo, you'll have to remind me of your date of birth.
1/2/44.
1/2/44. Do you have a specific focus or question, Mary Jo, or just see what comes up?
Well, let's see what comes up and what's in store for me for the next 3 months.
Oh, you're in the short term. Let's
Well,
see
you
what
could
comes
add
up in the
longer
next,
term to it.
what comes up in the next 3 months. All right. So Rebecca, do you have anything yet?
Yeah, Mary Jo, you had the Two of Cups come out. So definitely a focus on a relationship, a close bond
Oh,
that you have in your life or will have during this time. I don't know if this is a family member or a loved one. It feels like an emotional connection that allows you to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel some support. It also feels like a message, possibly from someone that might already have crossed over, that is sending you a lot of love. I'm not sure if the roses or a certain flower would mean something to you specifically. But it feels, I feel like this person, I feel like it's a close loved one that maybe has passed over already. I don't know if it's a family member or who, but I feel like they show you messages, or maybe you feel them sometimes
yes.
whereby, and maybe you're thinking in the moment it's a memory, but I feel like they're there, and you know, they're showing their presence and letting you know they still feel this exact same connection that has not ended, that continues onward, and there may be some interesting ways that you are able to connect more deeply with them even. Mary Jo, do you have a sister or a friend that was very much like a sister?
Mm, no.
Okay, I just felt like I had this sisterly feeling come up. So we'll see if maybe there's someone over the next few months too that is in your life that just has that kind of like someone you could, it doesn't have to be a female even. It just feels like someone you could be really silly with. Maybe you're a little more serious at times, and I just feel like it's someone that brings out that side of you. The Six of Swords came out too, so I do feel like you're moving on from a bit of a difficult time, maybe some chaos, or just some ungroundedness. There might even be, I don't know if it's a short trip to go visit someone that would bring you a lot of joy, but definitely moving on to some calmer waters if things have felt like stressful or just kind of like emotionally up and down. I feel like there's a balance coming in. It actually feels, I feel it in my heart, like this, I don't know what the word I would use for it is, more than calmness, like a peace, like a taking a nice exhale after a really difficult time, and just really knowing that this connection is still very present. So you're not leaving this behind. If that was kind of a worry, it's still very present in your life, and I think there's some nice things over the next few months. So we'll see what plays out for you in those ways.
Thank you, Rebecca.
You're welcome.
All right, Mary Jo. So they're talking about you being in a cycle this year that deals with like soul learning. Just, like we're in a human classroom of soul learning, as a human being. But this is really a focus for you this year about learning, expanding, growing, understanding how your thoughts create your reality, your mindset, looking at new and expanded possibilities and perspectives, knowing that maybe the old way of thinking needs to evolve. We're always evolving as human beings on all these different levels. And just because we thought things were a certain way, or this is the way we thought, or this is what we believed, doesn't mean, in fact, we shouldn't always stay in that same place, because as we're growing and evolving, we're needing to shift our perspectives as the world shifts. And they were talking, well, I have to say Master Jesus came in as one of the ascended masters. So I don't know if you have a specific relationship with Master Jesus, but he came in, and there was this phrase of love, acceptance, forgiveness, love, acceptance, forgiveness. So needing to focus on the idea of having love, acceptance, and forgiveness towards yourself, but maybe also love, acceptance, and forgiveness towards someone else, a relationship, maybe something happened in the past. And we need to, it doesn't mean we need to forget or not have good boundaries if that person's still in our lives, but we need to come into, first of all, like everybody's where they're at. Everybody has their own lessons. And so sometimes we're projecting our lessons onto one another in relationships. We have to have an acceptance for where that person is at or what they believe or whatnot. And we can still have unconditional love and compassion for them. We can come to like a sense of forgiveness regarding certain things that might have transpired in the relationship, but it doesn't mean we have to have them in our lives or that we shouldn't have good boundaries. But that was kind of the message from Jesus that came in, and they were talking about your sensitivity getting higher or more magnified. So, you know, as we all are, we're getting more intensified in our, maybe in our emotions, our psychic and intuitive abilities, our awareness. And of course, there's still people that are, you know, lights out and walking around, you know, and maybe not awake. But every one of you that are here, I can guarantee that some, you know, you're all awake. If you're here, you're awake and you're conscious and you're wanting to grow and expand and evolve. So I feel like you're becoming more sensitive. They were saying something about a learning experience. So I don't know if you're already in that or have had that, but this is within this birthday year and you have a birthday in January. So for you, it's pretty much the whole year, but some sort of learning experience where we have to like, you know, have this higher perspective or understanding from a spiritual perspective of what it's all about for us. And to be able to kind of then take conscious steps forward to move on or move beyond or move to the next step on our path. And I will show you, I'm going to show you this particular card at least. I'm shifting the subject because this was a pretty kind of important one because it says Shiva. So this is goddess Shiva. And it says karmic release, the end of a cycle, debts are paid, choose your destiny. So I think when they were talking about taking conscious steps forward, they were talking about sort of like when I gave the collective message of higher timelines and being able to see all the possibilities and potentials and to like transcend the earthly plane in some sense, or the earthly challenges, and to release whatever the karma is here. We got a snake around Shiva's neck, which is snakes to me are about transformation, death, and rebirth. And so again, whatever this is that you're needing to be aware of, or the lesson you're supposed to learn, it's like you're going to transcend that, rise above that, release the karma, get off the hamster wheel, and we're going to be able to kind of move forward and choose consciously our next steps, to choose how we're going to move forward on our destiny path. It's like they say the end of a cycle here with Shiva. So this can be like the end of that pattern, that end of that way of thinking, the end of that way of believing or perceiving either myself or a situation or my reality or whatnot. I did ask for a little bit more clarification. What is the karmic release regarding? Like, what are you talking about karmic release? And your angels and guides were talking about a particular wound that you've carried. And a lot of times with our wounds, especially if they're karmic wounds, it goes beyond just this lifetime. So I feel like there's a karmic release, and I feel like it's on a mental body level with your thoughts, ideas, perceptions, perspectives, that you're releasing and letting go of this wound. And then you're able to now take these steps forward in a more conscious and aware way as you move forward on your path. Does any of that make sense for you?
Oh, absolutely. All
Okay.
of it, both you and Rebecca were spot on about everything.
Well, thank you. And the 3 months, this month of June, it's that releasing, healing, letting go. Next month of July, it is about a new beginning, but it's new beginning on a mental level.
Mhm.
New beginning of how I think, perceive, understand, communicate. And then August, focus on relationships. And I know Rebecca said something about relationships. So if there's
Mhm.
something relationship happening, I feel like that's going to be in August. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I think we have time for one more. And again, for all of you that didn't get a reading, actually, I can tell you really quickly so I don't forget the date of next month's Cards and Coffee. And whether that be with Rebecca again, or whether that we're going back to Kathy. Hopefully she feels better really soon.
Yes.
Yes. So the Cards and Coffee for July is Sunday, July 7th. It's always at the same time, 11 a.m. Eastern time for about an hour. And also, you know, take a look at my meetup group for free new moon meditations, free full moon meditations by donation or not. And then other lectures, events, and things coming up will always be listed on that. So I'm gonna choose, I think I'm gonna choose Chanel. If hopefully I'm saying your name right, Chanel. If you want to unmute and give me your date of birth and let me know, did I say your name right?
First of all, you said my name completely correctly. Thank you. And I have the British format of the date, so I'll just give it to you long form. It's 5th of January, 1979.
January 5th for us Americans, 1979. Do you have a particular focus or question, or just see what comes up?
I will see what comes up. That's okay. Thank you.
You can see what comes up. All right. Rebecca, do you got anything yet?
I do, Chanel. And actually, I was playing around with the cards before Colleen even called on your name, and the Lover's card kept popping out. And then when your name was chosen, it popped out again. So we have the Lover's card here, which of course can be to do with romance. It can also be to do with another person that is definitely a soulmate on some level and is here to, you know, help you, support you, trigger you, poke you, definitely make you grow, and maybe even mirrors something back to you in some way. Chanel, I feel like you're being very guided through this situation in this relationship. So I'm not sure if there's been some struggles, or I feel like there's been like a back and forth kind of energy, if that makes sense to you. And it does. Okay. And it feels like there's going to be some balancing. And that's interesting as I say that, because I also pulled the 6 of Pentacles, which to me has to do with balance. And definitely a balance more in like maybe the give and take, and or even in like power and control, and, you know, choosing your battles, you know, not a kind of yeah, there's a nice balancing, and it feels like, again, it does feel a bit to do with maybe give and take, and also maybe there's a sense of being a little tired at times, and wanting to just move away from this situation, but then knowing that it's kind of for the greatest good. And I do feel like there's a balance coming in and a harmony coming in. And I feel like there's a lot of learning, and even a sense of being able to gain another level of maybe security involved here. Would that make sense for you?
I would hope it does. Hopefully it shall
Okay.
eventually make sense of itself.
Yeah, I think this is the positive card. So I do think things are going to balance out in a more positive way, that's going to then allow you to kind of have a more of a safe space or a foundation to which to grow upon. And I think that's going to bring in a lot more security and stability and happiness, and hopefully just a better balance. And also when it comes to the Lovers, to do with your soul journey and what you're supposed to be learning here. I feel like it's taking a few lessons, you know, sometimes it takes us a few times. I have a teacher that used to always say, sometimes the universe will hit us with a 2x4 to get our attention. And if we don't pay attention to that and learn the lesson, then sometimes we get hit by the 4x4, and that usually stings. And we'll probably pay attention to that one. So hopefully you're only having to get the 2x4, but if you're like me, you probably have to get the 4x4. So
Well, do you know what? I'd rather like neither, but okay, we'll go with that. We'll go with that.
All right.
Okay, Chanel. So, wow, you're a Capricorn, right?
I am.
All right, Miss Capricorn. they were showing me that as a Capricorn, you have quite an interesting kind of soul energy, because Capricorns to me are like grounded, practical, goal-oriented, it's an earth sign, but yet you come in with this energy that I feel like on some level is like changeable. It's about change and redirection and never kind of staying too grounded or too focused for long. So does that make sense where you kind of have both aspects to your personality?
There certainly is, how do I put this? I wouldn't typify what you would have of a Capricorn personality, definitely not. But I've had to learn how to be organized and meticulous and all the things that Capricorn are, but that came later in life.
Right.
So yeah, I'm a paradox basically.
You are a paradox. Okay. So one thing they were talking about is going back to like last year. Again, you have a January birthday, so you're in a particular birthday year vibration this year, and they're just starting by going back to 2023 and saying there was like this inner transformation going on for you last year, 2023. It was kind of like well, they were talking about releasing difficulties, moving
Yep.
through challenges, feeling, again, kind of maybe the typical Capricorn energy where it's like step by step, but I'm taking 2 steps forward and getting knocked back 1, and I feel like I'm not moving anywhere very fast. All the while you're going through this like inner transformation and change. And now we're coming out of that into this year, which is bringing in a little bit more change, a little bit more opportunities, a little bit more redirection, go with the flow, but it still is kind of coupled with this kind of push-pull energy. There's still some of the stuff from last year of like, let's not move too fast, even though things are going to start changing and blossoming. They were saying, it's like up from the depths, from last year, and now we're taking conscious steps forward. Kind of like the message that I gave, was it Mary Jo, was it? Something about conscious steps forward. They kind of come in with that same kind of idea for you this year. It's like looking forward now. What changes do I need to make? How can I redirect? How can I shake things up a little bit and get things moving? And as a typical Capricorn, they said you're very resourceful. Like even through challenges, or even when you come to like the sticky spots or whatever, you're very resourceful and you're able to kind of maneuver, which is kind of that gift of being sort of like go with the flow and changeable. You're able to maneuver. Now, this one threw me for a loop. When I threw a particular card, it was a card and I thought, well, how does this go with a Capricorn with some of these other messages that I got? So I put it back in the deck, those things where we doubt ourselves, you put it back in the deck. I shuffled, and I pulled and it came out again. So I'm just going to show it to you. It was Kuan Yin. I don't know if you have a connection with Kuan Yin, this, goddess of like healing and compassion and love. She's sort of like the Mother Mary in Eastern, form, basically.
I'm kind of reminded of 2 of Swords with her.
Okay. It says care and compassion, choose to be love, do what is right for everyone involved, and offer a helping hand. So I don't know if there's a situation where you need to have a little, and whether it's yourself or someone else, but she's asking you to have a little bit more love and compassion and being in the heart and moving through this healing. Does this message make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a big ask, but it makes sense.
It's a big ask. Maybe that's why she came out twice. She's like, I really want this message to be known for Chanel. And whether this next message goes along with this, when you say it's a big ask, but they said something about honesty and communication, being upfront, being open, being honest in communication, and surrendering to the divine unfolding of what's going to happen. Now, whether it's what's going to happen in that situation where you have to speak your truth, or whether this is a bigger message of kind of surrendering to the divine unfolding of the plan, because it's not all known yet. There was something about surrender, but again, this open, honest communication kind of came in. And it's funny because, well, not funny, interesting, I guess, that Rebecca said something about relationship. What was you got the Lovers card, right, Rebecca?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got Mary Magdalene and it says sacred marriage. Now, That might, I mean, it might be. It's very much to me in accordance to the message of the lovers, because the lovers can be about a relationship, but it can also be about our relationship with ourselves, or again, the divine and sacred marriage with the divine or spirit. And so here we have Mary Magdalene and sacred marriage. So there's something where, again, if this is about relationship, that I don't know if you're in a relationship and we're needing to find this sacred higher aspect of the relationship, remembering that we're two divine souls that are coming together to support one another through, you know, our challenges and lessons. Or if you're not in a relationship, that this is pulling one in that's going to be of a divine higher nature, where, you know, this is the consort or companion to Jesus, the Christ, was Mary Magdalene. So we're talking about a spiritual union. Or if this spiritual union is about your union with your divine self, your higher soul self. Do you want to comment on that?
Most definitely. There is no or. You're spot on. It certainly is an extremely highly spiritual connection that has transcended many years and many lifetimes. And what Rebecca spoke about soulmates, mirroring twins, we're often called sun and moon because of the way that we connect. So it absolutely does apply.
Awesome. That's great. And then the last message I'll leave you with, let me just kind of tune in here. It was about having heightened awareness and tuning into the heart at the same time. So it's like we're expanding our crown chakra, maybe our third eye chakra, to pull in these, you know, these higher messages or have heightened awareness of what's going on. But we're also bringing in the emotional body, because to me, this might be higher mental body stuff, but we're also bringing in the emotional body of connecting, you know, to our heart chakra. And all of this is about, they use kind of the phrase of enlightened action, taking like enlightened or higher action towards your divine soul mission, your divine soul truth. It had this feeling of, I need to meditate more. I need to really, you know, do some more self-reflection, meditation, connecting with my higher soul self, maybe connecting with my Akashic records or, you know, whatnot, to have this stronger heart connection, but also this heightened higher mental body connection, in order to move forward. But this is a year of change for you. So that stuck stagnant energy from last year, we're now changing, rock and roll and shifting. And yes, we have all that Gemini energy, which can be very mutable and changeable. But for you, I want to say, look for some sort of, maybe, not that there's not already some small changes going on, but I feel like a bigger change, redirection, in September. Like September brings like freedom, liberation. Maybe if it's on a physical level, we're moving, maybe we're networking more. And this can be, again, the entire year, but there's some sort of big freedom, liberation, kind of change, redirection that comes in September.
Okay.
So
Okay, thank you.
I hope that helped you.
It certainly made sense. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Welcome.
All right, everybody. So that brings us kind of to the end of this particular Cards and Coffee. This will be uploaded to my YouTube channel under Colleen Lemma if you do indeed want to listen to it again, or if you want to share it with somebody else. And Rebecca, do you want to say anything to close out?
Well, I want to thank you for having me today, for all of you joining in. Also, we just wanted to let you guys know I do daily tarot card of the day videos, as well as you'll see a photo with like intuitive messages underneath it. So you can follow me under Trust the Effing Process on Instagram, Facebook. I'm on YouTube as well. And I do offer one-on-one sessions, and I'm going to be having some new programs coming up shortly too. So stay tuned for those. Yay. But it's really great to be here, and I wish everybody well.
And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, either under my name, Colleen Lemma, or Sacred Soul Empowerment. Website, again, Sacred Soul Empowerment. I do have a Reiki class coming up, a Reiki level 1 class. I know some of you, probably all of you, have already taken Reiki. You can do a retake for a lower price if you wish. And then I'm going to have, whether it's a tarot class coming up in a couple of months or maybe numerology, along with a lot of different like shorter lectures. And all of those will be listed on the meetup group that I have, as well as on Facebook and Instagram. But my meetup group is Sacred Soul Empowerment. So thank you all for coming today. We wish you all lots of love and light and focus and grounding and balance for at least the next couple of weeks, if not beyond. And sending you many, many blessings, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste.